Hey, it's your buddy Smokey, and back with a quick little thing. And I was thinking about chords, and I remember being in high school, and my first theory teacher, we were reading some charts, and, a major 7 add 9 was on the chart. And I was like, why add 9? Why? What is that for? And he said, well, it's just a modern thing. And that was the only answer I got. And there's more to it than that. If you're a player it doesn't matter what genre, and you're still kind of on the beginner to intermediate side, most of the chords you're going to be dealing with have just been major or minor. The occasional diminished, the occasional augmented, and, that's what you've had. And you may have not encountered chords that had extensions. That's anything above the octave is an extension. Now, something like a major 7 add 9. The 9 adds more color to the chord. It doesn't change the function of the chord. The functions of the chord have to do with the 3rd and the 7th, and sometimes the 5th. But the 9 doesn't change. So a major 7 is a major triad with a major 7 with the 9. If you don't know how to figure out what the 9 is, subtract 7. It's the 2 placed an octave above. 8, 9, 1, 2. That's why it happens. But you can just think of it as adding 2 above the octave. Now, the cool thing about these chords, that when you're writing something, and something that you're also going to be playing over, as in soloing or something like that, whether it's improvising or you're writing your solos or whatever, that the 9 adds color to the chord, and it also gives you, as a soloist, another note to work with, because now the chord tones, there are more chord tones, and if you're dealing with more inside kind of stuff, hovering around chord tones are the strongest melodic device you can use. But once you start adding extensions, you're adding more notes that are available to you, as well as just simply adding more color to the chords. So I'm just going to show you a few of my favorites, and then what you can do to kind of utilize those as a soloist, and also perhaps imply those things as a soloist. If it's not represented in the chord, you can make it happen. So one of the great ones to start with, one of my favorites, is, okay, you've got a D major 7 here, which is first finger on the D, third finger on the A, third finger on the G string there on the C sharp, and then the F sharp with the pinky. Now, if you lose the pinky, you can think of it as a D major 7, sus 2, or add 9, no third, because I've replaced the third. So I've got 2/5, no third, a major 7, and a 9 in the chord. It's a nice colorful chord. You can also think of it as an A over D, but I will usually think of it as a major 7, 9. It's one way to play it. What I just done is outline the chord tones with a D major arpeggio, D on top, and then add the 9, that E. That note becomes a stronger note to land on because it's represented in the chord. More chord tones. More chord tones, more color, more options for you as a soloist to play over it. Let's just make more noise accidentally. So that's what extensions can do. They're simply adding colors. They're making the chord a larger harmonic structure, and you as a soloist, whether you're improvising or you're composing your solos beforehand, gives you more options. And, the more options you have, the more color you get to work with, the more imagination you're allowed to have, and you don't have to try and explain what you're doing. The 9's there. I like that sound. I like 9s, personally. I think it's a great sound. Another great chord is the minor 11. We'll do this again on D. Now this is, you you can kind of think of this, since you build most of your chords first finger this way, with the exception of a couple open chords, you seldom have quote-unquote bar chords that run this way. Root here, rest of the notes are over on this side. So we've got the D on the A string with the third finger, right? The F, the minor third, here on the D string with the first finger. And then you're going to bar this bit. So you're going to get right here the C, the minor seventh on the G string, and then a D and a G on the E string from barring that first finger. That's a great chord. It's a D minor 7 chord. I'm adding more notes above the octave. So I've got another minor 7 on top. I've got a root here. Oh, no, wait. Yes, no, sorry. Got the 4th on the top. The 11th. And then another root. 7th, minor 3rd, root. You can also think of this as the walking on the moon chord, especially on D, because that's ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-ba-dum. It's that chord. So now you know how to play that. It's a really nice, wonderful, colorful chord. So again, extensions above like basic functional harmonic blocks add more color and kind of set a different mood, because it's a lot different than here's D minor, D minor 7, D minor 9, now we're getting moody, D minor 11. Yeah, it's a nice sound, and no matter what you play over it, say, it's on D, sorry. I'm just playing minor pentatonic over that. But I can land on different notes other than, quote-unquote, the bluesy notes, because more notes are being represented here as extensions in the chord, giving me more options. Even if I'm just using a 5-note scale, it sounds like more because it's being framed differently. You have more places that you can land melodically because it's being reinforced by the chord. That's a lovely thing. So as you start working more with chords, because a lot of you, even if you consider yourself a lead player, 90% of what you do is rhythm. Unless you're playing in a band that just pays you to play fills. Man, lucky you. Most of what you're going to do is chord work. And while not all of these are applicable to every kind of music, you'd be surprised where these chords wind up. Because in a lot of pop, a lot of rock, there's extensions. There's chords in there with extensions. So don't think of like everything that you may do in your genre is as simple as you think. So extensions are wonderful. Extensions are like the minor 9. That's such a nice sound too. You know, D with the second finger. Your 9 chord, your funky 9 chord, 7/9, right? Move your first finger down 1 fret and make sure you're not choking it off between these 2 fingers. Same thing. We've just gone from a dominant 7 to a minor 7. Because you've added one more note to the chord. So play around with that. If you're a songwriter and you're mostly just playing rhythm guitar, then having richer chords is helpful for you as well. Because again, when you have extensions, more is being reinforced in the harmony. It leaves you more melodic devices to work with. So say we're doing like a simple G, C, D thing, right? Let's change that. let's go G major 6, C major 7, to D7 sus. Now, the sixth chord, major 6 chord I was playing, you got your G, right? The regular old G. Basically, it's A over G, and you add the D here on the B string on the 3rd fret. And that's a movable shape as well. So G major 6, A major 6, B, C. If you haven't heard the tune 7 Days by Sting, that's that chord there. So you can kind of think of it as the 7 Days chord. So you have chords 1, 3, 5, 7, and then you have the other notes that the chord doesn't have in its basic harmonic structure are placed above the octave, usually given a name 7 notes, 7 numbers higher, and there you go, nice big richer chords. That D7 sus is essentially a C. I've showed you this one before, a C with that D in the bottom, so it all goes across one string from the 5th string to the 2nd string. It's a 7 with a suspended 4th and a 9 on top. It's a very cool sounding chord. You can think of it as C over D, or D11, or D minor 7 sus. It does many things. It has many functions, or it can just float. But it's, again, another chord that you can use, and hey, super easy to finger. So anytime you're dealing with a 5 chord, you can substitute that shape. So, nice. So extensions, play around with them, figure them out, sit down at a piano keyboard. If you can kind of get around on a keyboard, you can do that. Or you can simply take your regular chord shapes that you already have and move a finger. And start from there, like experiment. You'll be surprised what kind of things that you can write or play over if you just simply start thinking about harmonic blocks as being something bigger. Their function doesn't change. A major 7 chord is just a major chord. You know, a dominant 7 with a 13 is still a dominant 7. It's still a 5 of some kind in a major key. It's going to do the same job. It's just now a more colorful version and gives you, the person responsible for coming up with melody, be you a singer, a soloist, a composer, whatever, it gives you more options for melodic devices. So get extended. Make it bigger. It's your buddy Smokey. Thanks for hanging out. Mwah. We'll see you later. Get a hold of me here. Get a hold of me on Facebook. Get a hold of me at my Gmail. And just, if you got a question, ask it. Simple as that. Talk to you later. Bye.